Hello, welcome to the tutorial on designing a web API using database first approach. I am Benjamin Fadina. In this tutorial, I shall be creating a project assignment service which is made up of three entities. The entities are employee, department, and project. We shall start implementation by creating the database and the tables first. So here I am searching for Management Studio, the SQL Server Management Studio. I'll click on it to open it. Here's me entering the connection credentials in order to connect to the database. The server name, let me enter localhost. Click connect. So now that I've created the database, once I've connected, now that I've connected to SQL Server, I'll right click on databases, then I will click on new database. Project assignment DB. That's the name of the database. The owner will be SE. Then I will click OK. So now I will expand databases folder. I will expand project assignment DB. I'll right click on the tables folder and I'll point to new. I'll click on table. The first table we are going to create is department. And department is going to be made up of department ID columns and department name columns. Department ID has a data type of integer. Department name has a data type of n-50. I'll make department name primary key, and I'll also set department ID. I'll make department ID to be primary key, and I'll make department ID to be identity as well. Department name will be compulsory. I'm also going to set unique key on department name. The last thing I'll do is to save my table. So this table will be saved as departments. Then I click OK. The next table I'm going to create is project table. So I'll right click on table once again. I'll point to new. I'll click on table. So we are going to have the following columns in project table. We are going to have project ID, user type is integer. We are going to make project ID primary key, and we are going to set identity property for project ID column. The next column will be project name, whose data type will be n-50. We are going to make project name compulsory. We are also going to set unique key for project name column. So we are going to save this table as projects. The last table we are going to create will be the employees table. It's going to be made up of the following columns: employee ID, whose data type is integer, first name, whose data type is n-50, last name, whose data type is also n-50. And then we are going to have current project ID. It talks about the current project the employee is assigned to. The data type of that will be int. All these columns are going to be compulsory. Set employee ID as integer. And employee ID will also be identity column. Then we save our table as employees. Click OK. Now we create a relationship. Click Add to create a relationship. Sorry, let me close. What I did was to right click here and I selected relationships. Let me delete that one. So to create a new relationship, you click Add. Then you select the primary key table, which in this case is projects. The primary key column is project ID. Foreign key table is already selected, it's employees, and foreign key column will be project ID. Then you click OK. You click Close. Now I'll click the Save All button. Then I'll click Yes. So the next thing we are going to do is that we are now going to scaffold our DB context and model classes. In order to do that, I will start by starting Visual Studio 2022. Then I'll click on Create a New Project icon. I'm going to look for ASP.NET Core Web API. Then I'll click Next. The name of the project name will be Project Assignment.api. I will save the project on my C drive and the path for project assignment. Then the solution name will be project assignment. Then I'll click Next. For my framework, I'm going to use .NET 6. Authentication type for now will be none. I'll configure for HTTPS. I'm going to use controllers. I'm also going to enable Open API support. Then I'll click Create. So I'm going to Solution Explorer. Our project is created. We have this file that says weatherforecast.cs. I'm going to delete the class. I'll right click on the class and then I'll press delete. I'll go back to Solution Explorer. I will expand controllers folder. I'm going to delete the only controller that is inside the controllers folder. That's weather forecast controller. I'm deleting it. Now the next stuff I'm going to do, is that I'm going to right click on dependencies and then I will select manage NuGet packages. I'll click on browse. I'm going to search for EntityFrameworkCore.SQL Server. I'll click on the package, then I'll click on install. I'll click OK. I'll click I accept. Then I'll click save all icon. After installing this package, I'll go back to Solution Explorer. Once again, I'll right click on dependencies. I'll click on manage NuGet packages. I'm going to search for EntityFramework.tools this time around. I'll click on it. I'll click install. Then I'll click OK. Then I'll click I accept. Once again, I'll click save all button. There is an app on my machine called Sublime Text. If you don't have Sublime Text, you can use Notepad. So I'm going to click on Sublime Text. And I'm going to paste something on Sublime Text. This is the command that I'm going to use to scaffold my database. I've used this command to scaffold an earlier database. So all I'm going to do is to change the initial catalog property. My database name is Project Assignment DB. So I'll right click on it in Management Studio. I'll select rename. Once again, I'll right click. I'll select copy. Then I'll go back to Sublime Text. I'm going to replace Product Catalog DB with Project Assignment DB. So the command now becomes scaffold DB context server is dot, initial catalog is this, I have the ID, user ID, I have the password, I have other stuff. So now that I've created the scaffold command, I'll right click on it. I'll select it, I'll right click on it, and I'll press copy. Then I'm going to go back to Visual Studio. I'm going to build my project first. So I'll go to build solution. So build succeeded. Then I'll go to tools. I'll go to NuGet Package Manager, package manager console. Then I'm going to right click and paste. So I've pasted my scaffold command. The output directory, note the output directory flag is set as models. Then I'll press enter. So now, our DB context, our project assignment DB context class has been created for us automatically. If I go to Solution Explorer, a models folder has been created where we have department, we have employee, we have project, and we have project assignment DB context. First up, I'm going to make a small adjustment to the DB context. The first adjustment I'm going to make to the DB context is that I'm going to comment out these two lines. The next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going back to Solution Explorer. I'm going to open my app settings.json. I'm going to create a connection string property, a connection string section. So here I have server is dot, I have other. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the name of the database to my current project database, which is project assignment DB. I'll click on save. Please note that the name of the only default connect and the name of the only connection string in the connection string section, the name of the connection string is default connection. Please note. So the next thing I will do is I'll go back to Solution Explorer. I'll open project assignment DB context. I'm going to comment out the section that has to do with if not options .builder is configured. I'll comment it out. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'll go back to Solution Explorer and I'm going to open program.cs. Now I'll put my cursor on the right of line 8, which says builder.services.add_swagger_gen. Then I will now type builder dot services dot add DB context. What DB context am I adding? The DB context I'm adding is project assignment DB context. Copy it. Then I will paste it here. Okay, I need to import the namespace for. I need to import the models, and I need to set options for using this project assignment DB context. So I have builder.services.db context, project assignment DB context, options is options.useSQL server, then builder.configuration.get connection string, default connection. Default connection is the only connection string that we have in our app settings.json. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is to import the Microsoft.EntityFrameworkCore namespace here. After doing this, I will build again. I'll go to build solution. Then I'll go to Solution Explorer. I'll right click on Controllers folder. I'll point to Add. I'll select Controller. This time around, I'm going to click on API. I'm going to select API controller with actions using Entity Framework. Then I'll click on Add. The context will be project assignment DB context. The model class will be department. I will change the controller name to department controller. Then I'll click on Add. So it tells me installing NuGet packages. Scaffolding, updating dependency information. Says building project. Now you get this error. There was an error running the selected code generator. Install the package Microsoft.visualstudio.web.codegeneration.design and try again. I'll click OK. I'll click Cancel. I'll click Cancel. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on my project assignment.api. Now, these are the package under item group. I have the packages that have been installed in this project. And one of the packages that have been installed is Microsoft Visual Studio Web.codegeneration.design. I'm going to modify the package reference. I'm going to add private assets is equal to all property there. Then I'm going to save. After saving, I'll go to build solution again. So now build has succeeded. Now that build has succeeded, I'll go again. I'll right click on my controllers folder. So I right click on controllers folder. I will now click on Add Controller. API. I'll select API controller actions using Entity Framework. Once again, data context class is project assignment DB context. Model class is department. I'll change the controller name to department. Then I'll click on add. This time around, the department controller is successfully created. Once again, I'll go back to controllers folder. I'll right click. I'll point to add, then I click controller. I'll click on API. I'll click on API controller with actions using Entity Framework. Then I'll click on add. The data context class, once again, is project assignment DB context. The model class is employee, and the controller name is employee controller. Then I'll click on add. So our second controller has been created. I'm now going to create the last controller, which is the project controller. So I'll click on add. I'll click on controller. I'll click on API. I'll select API controller with actions using Entity Framework. I'll click on add. Model class will be project. Data context is still project assignment DB context. Controller name will be project controller. Then I'll click on add. So at the end, right now, project controller has also been created. Now it is time to test our API. So I'll just click the play button. So we see the message saying build succeeded. So Swagger is starting. So Swagger has started. Let's test our API by creating a new department. So I'll click on post. I'll click on try it out. I don't need the department ID. So I'll take out that. Let me just put software development. As the department, first department name. Then I'll click on execute. Now you see the response. Said cannot open project. There's this error that says project assignment DB requested by the login field. So what could be the error? Project assign. Turns out that the error is due to the fact that the database name is misspelled. So I'm going to stop the project. I'll go back to Solution Explorer. In App Settings, ensure that the database name is correctly spelled. I'll save again. I'll run the project once again. So now let's create a new department using the post method. So I'll click on try it out. So department name is software development. Then I'll click on execute. Okay, you see server response 201 means we were able to add a new department successfully. And it returned the ID of the newly created department. If you are still a doubting Thomas, let's just go to the database tables. Then I click on departments and I select top 1000 rows. So here you see the new department has been created successfully. So thank you for watching.